All kids out of the pool for Adult Swim. All kids out.
Ah, hoy hoy. Sometimes relationships have to come to an end. Whether we want to or not, that's just how life is. So today I want to talk about those moments that you have to cut people away from your gaming table for X or Y reason. The reason, ultimately, it's not really important. The issue here is how to go about it, because you might end up coming off as an asshole depending on the way you do it. And honestly, when we're game masters, having a reputation is important for us, because these circles, these niche circles, they're small. So you don't want bad word of mouth causing you not to have a player base eventually. So whenever you're gonna cut someone, you know it's gonna be tricky. So you gotta make sure that you do it the proper way. Of course, sometimes you have no choice but to be the bigger asshole. If it is what it is, then, it just is. So what to do? Usually, at least I am an adult. And I hope that you that are watching this are also an adult. And if you're a baby that somebody put on to watch me, what are your parents doing? Anyways, when you're gonna cut people, it's very important that you use right words when you do it. You don't want to rub people the wrong way, because there's so many reasons you might cut people off, and I did say that the reason as to why it's not really important. But of course, if you're cutting someone, it is for a reason. But the reason ultimately doesn't matter, because what matters is that you, the game master, you feel comfortable in your own table. So you can't really have anybody around the table. Now, like I said at the beginning, relationships end. Whatever type of relationship. Nowadays, some people even cut off their own parents when their parents are fucking assholes. You go no contact. It happens. That's just life, You might have a long-standing relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, what have you. Even, your cult leader, if you were part of a cult and you decided to leave the cult for reasons not mentioned right now. So you cut people off. In the gaming space, it happens usually when you have a problem player. So what I usually do is I sit them down. We talk about what's not working. We talk about usually some issues other players might be having at the table. So ultimately, when we play these tabletop role-playing games that we love and enjoy a lot, we do it as escapism, because we want something to have fun with, right? We do it to have fun. That's the old adage, right? Rule number 1. Always have fun. That's the reason we're doing this. No other reason exists. I know some people do it for money, but who's really paying a 41K with being a dungeon master? Matt Mercer and his crew probably, but that's beside the point. For the layman's, for the regular people, for the Yoshmos of the world, we do this because we want to. We do this because we love it. We do it to have fun. I've been a forever game master for the past 15 odd years or so. I've been a game master for 18 at the moment of recording this video, but I've been a forever game master for about 15 years of those years. My tenure as game master. And I love it. I do it because I genuinely adore being a game master. I adore setting up interesting plot points for my players to then discover them and say, oh shit, that makes so much sense. That shit fills me up. So we do it for fun. We don't do it for fame, we don't do it for glory, or at the very least, you shouldn't do it for fame or glory. If you are, get a day job. So we do it because we want to have fun. We want to make people happy. I love making people happy. I love making people have fun, enjoy themselves, laugh, sometimes even cry, piss them off. You know, if you're a good game master, you can piss off your players. Not at yourself, but at the situations you put them in and the NPCs. But sometimes things just don't work out. People just don't jive together. Usually when I'm gonna set up a new game with new players, I have vetoing process. You know, I sit down with the people. Yeah, it's sort of like having what's the word? A work interview, but it's a game interview. Because not every table is there for every player. So it's a weird dancing balance you have to do. I love to play and run narrative games. To me, the story goes way, but what I mean way more important than the rules. It goes far and ahead. The backstory of the players is, to me, paramount for a good game. Because sure, as a game master and as a writer, I like to write plot points, but I adore adding my players' backstories into the plot points. I weave them. That's something that I enjoy and I love, and so far my players have enjoyed that. Now, I understand that that's not the type of game that everybody enjoys. I've met some people that they like meat grinders. They like to have multiple characters planned out because they're expecting their characters to die. I don't kill player characters. Unless a player comes up to me and says, I want my character to have a heroic death, or I want to change characters, so I want this character to die a gruesome death, that's fine. And even then, maybe some other day we'll talk about my very controversial viewpoints about killing player characters, because I know a lot of people don't enjoy that. It's like, oh, but then, you know, where's the danger? Trust me, in a narrative game, there are worse things than dying. But with that said, what I run is not what everybody else likes to play in. So maybe somebody likes a meat grinder, somebody likes gauntlets of monsters, they like to have a bunch of fights. And that's not what I do. Usually I have one fight per session. And usually my players know this, so they save their most powerful things for that one fight they know they're gonna have. Because to me, the fights is a means to an end to get to a certain point in the story. Not the most important part of the game, because personally, if all I want is to fight, I'll just boot up Elden Ring, lose myself in the lands betweens, and kill monsters. I can just do that. And usually that's what I tell players. If all you want to do is kill monsters, just play Diablo. Play Dark Souls. Play Elden Ring. You can fight monsters there. But if you want to play, you want to fight monsters with your buddy while playing make-believe, that's something people like. That's not something I give. So it's very important for you as a player that you make sure that you are in a place that you belong. Because then you might have issues when you don't get what you want in a game that you're playing. We, and when I say we, I mean me as a game master, I mean you as players, and even people that are starting to get into this. We have to take time from our busy schedules to play probably 4 hours a week, maybe more, maybe a little bit less, but we're taking time away from our free time to do this. So ideally we do something that we enjoy, something that we love. The problem is sometimes people don't understand that and they want to force what they want on a table. That's a big no-no. Because if I run a narrative game and all you want is combat all the fucking time, that's not gonna jive. That's gonna cause troubles when you start picking fights in the game, trying to make other players fight other NPCs and shit like that, and it's just not gonna work. So what I do, like I mentioned before, sit down with the person, talk, mention what works, what's not working, and don't be afraid to tell them, you know, maybe my table is not for you. And I know sometimes we don't want to hurt people's feelings, we don't want to make them feel bad. And I understand it, because at the end of the day, we tend to be very empathic people, right? But sometimes you have to lay down the cards and set shit right. Tell people, you know, my table, it's not for you. Sometimes they get abrasive because you're the only gaming group in town. Tough shit. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Tough shit. Find people to play online. You don't like playing online? If you don't like to play online, and if you don't want to play the games other people are playing in your local group, then you have to cut your losses. Either you go with the flow, or you just don't flow at all. So as a game master, sit down with your players. If you have a problem player, if you have people that are always arriving late and they don't give you a reason why, or they're being disruptive during the sessions, calling people's attention too much, always on their fucking phone, not paying attention to the game proper, sit down with them. That's my suggestion. Always sit down with the person before cutting them off. Because we're adults. We're supposed to be able to sit down and just talk about shit. Ideally. And to be honest, I've been an asshole in the past. Way back when in college, when I used to run games, there was a player I didn't like. Why? We went to his house to play a game during summer. I was thirsty. I asked for a glass of water and he denied me water. So come next semester, I told him I'm cutting you off the game. I should have told him why. I should have told him you denied me water, so I'm denying you my game. Seems fair. But at the time, well, I was a very different person. So I didn't do it. I wasn't upright, up straight with them. I wasn't straight up with them. And I should have. And to me, it came off as scummy. Sure, back then I told them, I don't have an issue with you, I just have too many players. Which in part was true, because I had 8 players at the moment. Well, we can talk about players, group sizes eventually as well, if that's something that interests you. You know, I've had people saying shit they shouldn't be saying. I've had to cut them out as well. I've had people just switch out their entire lifestyles to the point that they are diametrically opposed to what the gaming group wants, and, you know, you cut them. Thankfully, around the area I live in, there are plenty of groups always starting out, always continuing, always looking for new players, and always becoming a new group. So we are blessed in this area. There's a lot more tabletop role players than people might actually think. There's a fuckload of people that just want to try it for the first time. What about cutting off a game master? See, that was a little bit more difficult, because the game master is usually the one writing the story, the one reading the story if it's a pre-generated story. So what do you do then? My suggestion would be talk to your group. Because if you have a problem with the game master, but nobody else does, guess what? You are the problem, not the game master. That's where you realize you are the problem player, and probably you are the one that has to leave. It is what it is, right? But if everybody has a problem with the game master, again, as adults, I suggest we all sit down and tell the game master, hey, like, these are our grievances with the game or the way you are running things. We don't like this. We would like for you to switch things up. And if that happens to you as a game master, take heart, because that means they still want you as the game master. There's something you're doing right, unless they're just shoehorning you as the forever game master role. It happens to a lot of us. A couple of weeks ago, I met a dude at a local gaming store that he was telling me about his game. They've been playing for a while, and they had 6 players, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. You've been a game master for a while. He said, oh, I've been a game master for 3 years. I'm not like, that's cool. But he was like, yeah, but I'm a forever game master. It's just the curse I've been dealt. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You know, find someone to be a game master for you. I wouldn't complain, because I love doing this shit. I don't shy away from it. This is what I love. Trust me, if I could do this for a fucking living, if I could make 50K a year being a game master, I'd fucking like leave everything behind just to do this full time, because I thrive on this. This is like my fucking therapy. Making people happy, making people think, creating interesting encounters, creating good stories with my players' backstories, you know. We can also maybe eventually talk about integrating players' backstories into the story you're writing, because I know a lot of game masters they fall in love with their own story. I do as well. It happens to all of us, but you have to be able to be malleable. So, in conclusion, talk. The basis of any type of relationship is communication. Don't shy away. Especially in this community that we are in. Again, I know, and I mentioned it last video, I know that a lot of us are antisocial. We can be awkward. We can lack charisma. Not everybody can be me. I was born with a natural 20, baby. This is the way I am. But not everybody is like that. We have to learn to lose that fear of making people feel bad. Just, you know, be tactful. Know how to say things. Try not to be hurtful. Because I know words can be tricky and they can be finicky. But practice it. Always be ready to say, hey, dude, I'm sorry if what I'm saying is rubbing you the wrong way, but it's the only way I know how to say it at the moment. You know, you fly low, might be able to help. And again, basis of any relationship is good communication. So communicate with your players. Communicate with your game master if there's something you're not enjoying. Because again, this is a two-way street. If there's no game master, there are no players. If there's no players, there's no game master. But we all know that really is the game master running everything, so, you know. Finding a game master is a lot more difficult than finding a player, and we'll talk about game master appreciation eventually as well, because that is something that me and a couple of people I know have noticed that a lot of groups are lacking game master appreciation. So, if you think about any other topics that you would like for me to tackle, just stand here and ramble for 15 minutes at a time, let me know in the comments section. You can contact me as well on Facebook or wherever you see Enjoy. And I'll do my best to just improvise something for you guys, because I don't script these. These are just me. Back from work, I have my work clothes on, so I just put on the jacket and I just start rambling until I decide I'm done. And I'm done. Let me know in the comment section what other topics you like for me to tackle, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Always with you, reminding you, rule number 1, always have fun.